Are we talking about fall TBR? Let's do it.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Trishita Reads. I am Trishita. In today's video, I will be talking about the books that I am interested in to read before winter ends. Basically, I will be sharing my fall TBR with all of you. If you ask me, I never have read books on the basis of seasons, but this time I was seeing so many fall TBR videos and that inspired me to do experiments with respect to my reading. And here I am. I have selected a lot of books from my shelf that I would love to read during winters. The genres that I'm majorly looking forward to read during winters is one thrillers, second horror, and third fantasies. Before sharing all of the books that I am planning to read, I also want to let you guys know that I won't be strictly sticking to this TBR as I keep on adding new books. And also, it will definitely depend on my mood to read a particular book at a particular time. And I do feel like if I continue reading one particular genre, I will end up in a reading slump, which I absolutely do not want to. So I will be reading a few other books that are present in my TBR, but my main goal will be to finish all of the books that are in my fall TBR before winter ends, which is practically not possible until and unless something revolutionary happens because I have so many books for my fall TBR. I don't know, but a girl can be optimistic, a girl can dream and hope. Let's begin. But before starting the video, I just want to have you guys look at my new curtains and let me know how it is looking. I am absolutely in love with the color and it looks so royal. The first book in my fall TBR is Shatter Me by Tehran Mafi. I just got this book today and I am so freaking excited to read this book because I have heard so many good things about this book. Plus, an exclusive edition of this book has just come out and that's absolutely beautiful. So, if I like reading this one, I will go and buy that exclusive collector's edition later on. I am so freaking happy that I finally got my hands on this one. And I definitely would love to read the first book before buying the other books in the series. I just want to see whether this series is my cup of tea or not before investing my money on the next books in the series. I hope that it is a sensible decision and let's see what the story is about. A fragile teenage girl is held captive, locked in a cell by the re-establishment, a harsh dictatorship in charge of a crumbling world. But Juliet is no ordinary teenager. One touch from her can kill. The re-establishment wants to use her as a weapon, but Juliet has other plans. After a lifetime without freedom, she has finally discovered the strength to fight back and to find a future with the one person she thought she had lost forever. Okay, this sounds really interesting and it has all of the dark fantasy vibes. I am so freaking excited to read this book. The next book is a part of a series and I have read the first book in the series before but I did not like it that much. But since I have already got the book, I felt like let's just read this book and see whether the series gets better. So the book being about is The Wicked King by Holly Black. Since this is the second book in the series, I won't be reading the blurb of this book as I want this video to be spoiler free. But let me see what the blurb is about. Okay. Not gonna lie, the plot sounds really promising. I was not that impressed by the Cruel Prince, but I am having hopes on this one. To be honest, I won't be having a lot of expectations from this book, but I will definitely give this book a try. The next book that is in my TBR is a thriller that I recently got. I mean, I have shown that book to you guys in one of my haul videos, and the book's name is The Girl Who Disappeared by Claire Douglas. 20 years ago, one rainy night, Olivia Rutherford is driving three friends home when a figure in the road causes her to swerve and crash. Regaining consciousness, she finds herself alone in the car. Her friends have vanished. They are never seen again. Now, journalist Jenna Halliday visits the close knit community of Staffordbury to persuade Olivia to talk and solve the mystery of the girl's disappearance. But Olivia won't speak. What happened? Is Olivia hiding something? Why are the people of Staffordbury so frightened? How many secrets can one small town hide? Okay, I am keeping this book in my priority list. Definitely. The plot sounds so freaking interesting. Let's see if I can include this book in my September TBR. The next book has been on my shelf for forever, and this is the year I want to read this book and, finally finish this book. And the book's name is My Husband's Wife by Jane Corey. When young lawyer Lily marries Ed, she is determined to make a fresh start and leave the secrets of the past behind. Then she takes on her first case and meets Joe, a convicted murderer to whom Lily is strangely drawn, and for whom she will soon be willing to risk anything. But Lily is not the only one with something to hide. Her next door neighbor, Carla, may be only 9, but she has already learned that secrets are powerful things, that they can get her whatever she wants. When Lily finds Carla on her doorstep 12 years later, a chain of events is set in motion that can end only one way. Seems like a good domestic thriller. Excited, yes, definitely. If this is not the year that I finish this book, I will get rid of this book. I feel like I should do justice to this book, and hence I will definitely be reading this one. I got the next book in my fall TBR from the International Kolkata Book Fair this year, and this book is based on a mythical story of India, and the book I am talking about is The Legend of Kuldhara by Malathi Ramachandran. If you are an Indian, then you know the story or have heard at least about Kuldhara, and if you are not an Indian and you want to know what happened in Kuldhara, then there are several YouTube videos that will explain you the history or the story of Kuldhara. And yes, it is considered as a haunted place in India. And let me tell you the story about this book. Kuldhara, a village in the Rajasthan desert, perched at the edge of time, abandoned, cursed nearly 200 years ago to remain a heap of rubble and stone. It lies dreaming of its vibrant past when the streets echoed with laughter and the fields swayed green and gold. What happened one night that drove its inhabitants from their homes, never to return? Did they flee to preserve their honor? When the covetous gaze of a local lord fell on Pari, the headman's daughter, where did they go? How did they survive? I already know the legend of Kuldhara. I have obviously heard about the story of Kuldhara, but I also want to see how the author has presented the legend story. Yes, I am rather pretty excited for this book. And Nyogi is one such publisher that always comes up with these, unique stories. And it is always refreshing to read something written by an Indian writer. And when the book is based on a legend of your own country, the book definitely becomes more delicious. The next book is definitely something that I will be reading. And the book that I'm talking about is The Shadows Between Us by Tricia Leventhaler. Not only the cover of this book, but the blurb of this book also sounds super interesting. Nobody knows the truth about the Shadow King's power. Some say he can make the shadows that swirl around him do his bidding. Others say they speak to him, whispering the hidden thoughts of his enemies. One thing's for sure, his kingdom is vast, and ruthlessly ambitious Alessandra wants it for herself. Her plan? Woo the Shadow King, marry him, then kill him and take over his domain. But Alessandra is not the only one trying to kill the king. As he dodges assassination attempts, she finds herself trying to keep him alive long enough to become his queen, all while struggling not to lose her heart. After all, what better match for a shadow king than a cunning villainous queen? Convince me to not read this book. Do that, but still I won't listen to you because a villainous queen, really? I mean, what more do I need from a book? The next two books are part of a series, and I got these books recently. And the books that I'm talking about are The Iron Raven and The Iron Sword by Julia Kagawa. I will be reading the blurb of the first book to avoid any spoilers. You may have heard of me, Puck, Robin Goodfellow, prankster, jester, raven, fool, a fairy with seemingly infinite lives and infinite second chances. Now, finally, Puck tells his own story and faces a threat that before time began, a threat that brings him face to face with a new enemy, himself. With the Iron Queen Megan Chase, her prince consort Ash, and allies old and new by his side, Puck begins a fantastical adventure not to be missed or forgotten. Evenfall is coming, and with it, a reckoning that even their combined powers may not vanquish, as a shadow falls over the lands of fairy and the world spills into chaos. Not only this book has fairies, but this book has high stakes, adventure, and I'm really excited to see what the story holds. But there is one thing that I'm really afraid of, and that is the font size of this book. It is super small. I'm just hoping that the story of this book is super interesting to make me sit and read this book. A little bit scared, not gonna lie, but really, really excited. The next book is a thriller, and I recently got this book, and you can see the book in one of my haul videos. And the book's name is The Decagon of Murders by Yukito Ayatsuji. I absolutely love reading Japanese translated fiction, and when it comes to Japanese translated thriller fiction, I am an absolute fan because the complexities of all of the characters, the layers of the plots are something that I absolutely love in Japanese thrillers. And I guess they know the game. They know how to write amazing thrillers to always make your jaws drop down. Absolutely amazing. A lonely rockbound island of Sonojima is notorious as the site of a series of bloody unsolved murders. Some even say it's haunted. One thing's for sure, it's the perfect destination for the K University Mystery Club strip. But when the first club member turns up dead, The remaining amateur sleuths realize they will need all of their murder mystery expertise to get off the island alive. As the party are picked off one by one, the survivors grow desperate and paranoid, turning on each other. Will anyone be able to untangle the murderer's fiendish plan before it's too late? An abandoned island, and then there is a cat and mouse chase between the killer and the victims. It sounds really dark, not gonna lie. It sounds like it will be a gory mystery, and I am absolutely up for it. Definitely very excited. The next book that I'm willing to read is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. This book has been on my TBR for quite a long while, and I recently got this book. Let's read what the story is about. Remember, it's all a game. What happens beyond this gate may frighten or excite you, but don't let any of it trick you. Once a year, the infamous Master Legend hosts Caraval, open only to those who have been invited. This year, the week-long game is on Legends glittering Isla de los Sueños, where the winding streets are an elaborate snow-covered maze and the people are never who they seem. At midnight on the first day, the snow begins and the visitors become players. Each one of them is vying for the coveted prize, a single wish. All they must do is unravel the mystery of Caraval. But in a game where danger hides behind every charming smile, winning isn't without loss, and their wish might be their last. Wow. Wow. I did not think that this book will have such dark themes. It is my absolutely bad behavior that I do not read blurbs of the books before buying them. And exactly, I did the same. I definitely have heard about this book, but I did not know the story or the blurb of this book. And definitely, it seems like a very dark fantasy thriller. Thriller, and I'm really excited to read this dark, twisty fantasy. Let's go. The next book is not a thriller, but this book is about a girl who is trying to survive life. And the book I'm talking about is Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow. You can stop the girls who have it easy. And then there is me. Charlotte Davis is in pieces. At 17, she has already lost more than most people do in a lifetime, but she has learned how to forget. The broken glass washes away the sorrow until there is nothing but calm. You don't have to think about your father and the river, your best friend who is gone forever, or your mother who has nothing left to give you. A deeply moving portrait of a girl in a world that owes her nothing yet has taken so much and her long journey back from the edge. The next book is by someone who is considered OG in horror genre, and the book that I'm talking about is The Horror Omnibus by H.P. Lovecraft. This book has 41 horror stories written by H.P. Lovecraft. If you have read Lovecraft before, you know, but if you have not, then Lovecraft is the godfather of all of the eerie, disturbing creatures that you see nowadays in movies. And I am so very excited to read this book. Definitely, since this book is very thick, I won't be reading all of the stories in one sitting. I have already started this book. I have finished 2 stories so far, and I will be, picking this book up, read a few stories, and then keep this book again. Because to be honest, when I read Lovecraft's books, it is rather very disturbing and it is very spine chilling. Plus, I get afraid super easily. Let me know if you have read anything by Lovecraft before, or let me know if you have watched any movie that has Lovecraftian creatures in it. The next book that I'm putting in my TBR is a part of a huge series, and I have heard a lot of good things about this book. And the book I'm talking about is A Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I have the first 3 books of this series, and if I finish the first 3 books within this winter, then definitely I'll go and buy the other parts. I have heard that this series is better than A Court of Thorns and Roses. Hence, I am super excited because I am absolutely loving reading A Court of Thorns and Roses. And here's the story of this book. Meet Selena Sardothene, beautiful, deadly, destined for greatness. In the dark, filthy salt mines of Endovier, an 18-year-old girl is serving a life sentence. She is a trained assassin, the best of her kind, but she made a fatal mistake. She got caught. Young Captain Westfall offers her a deal, her freedom in return for one huge sacrifice. Selena must represent the prince in a to-the-death tournament, fighting the most gifted thieves and assassins in the land. Live or die, Selena will be free. Win or lose, she is about to discover her true destiny. But will her assassin's heart be melted? This book definitely has an underlying romance thing that will happen in the story, and I'm super excited to see where the book will go. The next 2 books are by Holly Black, and I got these 2 books recently, as you have seen in my haul videos, and the books that I'm talking about are The Stolen Heir and The Prisoner's Throne. This is the first book and the second book in the trilogy, and let me tell you the story of the first book. His sweat carries the scent of crushed grass, but mostly he smells like blood. He watches me, lashes low over his eyes. Without his golden armor, he almost looks like the boy I remember. 8 years have passed since the Battle of the Serpent, but in the icy north, Lady Nor of the Court of Teeth has reclaimed the Ice Needle Citadel. There, she is using an ancient relic to create monsters of stick and snow who will do her bidding and exact her revenge. Surain, child queen of the Court of Teeth and the one person with power over her mother, fled to the human world, where she lives feral in the woods. Oak, now 17, is charming, beautiful, and manipulative. He is on a mission that will lead him into the citadel and he wants Surain's help. But if she agrees, it will mean guarding her heart against the boy she once knew and a prince she cannot trust, as well as confronting all the horrors she thought she has left behind. This series seems rather interesting, and yes, I'm very excited to read this series. The next book is a thriller, and the book I'm talking about is The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. A lot of Hollies in my TBR this year. 18-year-old Belle has lived her whole life in the shadow of her mom's mysterious disappearance. 16 years ago, Rachel Price vanished and young Belle was the only witness. Rachel is gone, presumed dead. The case is dragged up from the past when the Prime family agrees to a true crime documentary. Belle can't wait for filming to end for life to go back to normal. But then Rachel Price reappears and life will never be normal again. Lights, camera, lies. Sounds super interesting. I really love Holly Jackson's writing. I really love the way she uses mixed media writing in her stories, and I am definitely very interested to read this book. The next three books are by Sarah J. Maas, and I am talking about the remaining books of A Court of Thorns and Roses. I have finished reading ACOTAR and I absolutely loved it. I am currently reading A Court of Mist and Fury, and I am liking it as well. And I will definitely see myself finishing this series before winter ends. The covers of these books are really pretty. I am absolutely loving this series, absolutely loving the world. So I'm rather very excited to read this series. The next book is a sci-fi romance, and the book that I'm talking about is Evergreens by Liam Brown. Every living thing must die. No one is disputing that. But how and when? Now, that's worth discussing. What if you could stay young forever? What if you never had to grow old? Ben has no qualms about signing up for the Evergreens Project, a controversial new trial. But are the promises of life without aging too good to be true? Sophie has no doubt that they are. And 65 years down the line, she gets the chance to find out. With Ben in hospital, unresponsive and aging rapidly before her very eyes, can Sophie uncover the dark secret at the heart of the Evergreen Project and save Ben's life in the process? I will really love to read the concept of afterlife and how the author has explained the concept of immortality. Really excited, and look how pretty the cover is as well. The next two books are by Tricia Levenseller, and the books are Daughter of the Pirate King and Daughter of the Siren Queen. This is the first book, and the story of this book is 17-year-old Alosa, daughter of feared Pirate King, is on a mission. She must retrieve an ancient hidden map, the key to a legendary treasure trove. The catch: Alosa needs to conceal her considerable combat skills and allow herself to be captured by her enemies, giving her the perfect opportunity to search their ship. More than a match for the ruthless pirate crew, Alosa has only one thing standing between her and the map: her captor, the unexpectedly clever and unfairly attractive first mate, Raiden. But luckily, she has a few tricks up her sleeve, and no lone pirate can stop the daughter of the Pirate King. Adventure, map, pirates, treasure. It has all of the tropes that can make me like a book, and I am definitely very excited to see what adventure this book holds. The next book is a thriller, and the book's name is Murder in the Family by Kara Hunter. It was a case that gripped the nation. Luke Ryder's murder has never been solved. In December 2003, Luke Ryder was found dead in the garden of the family home in London, leaving behind a wealthy older widow and 3 stepchildren. Nobody saw anything. Now, secrets will be revealed live on camera. Years later, a group of experts re-examine the evidence on Infamous, a true crime show with shocking result. Does the team know more than they have been letting on, or does the truth lie closer to home? Can you solve the case before they do? The truth will blow your mind. A domestic thriller and a live show that is solving the case sounds rather interesting to me. The next one is a book that I got in an Amazon sale at a very amazing deal. And the book that I'm talking about is Filmy Stories by Kunal Basu. Oh, this is a collection of stories, okay? The 8 stories in this collection are about unforeseen terrors and adventures, surreal comedies, the apocalypses, and the sublime poetry of everyday life. A disgruntled trucker sets out to kill his rival, ending up as the savior of migrant workers trapped by a pandemic. A novice jailer breaks the law only to learn that nothing in the world is beyond pardon. A corpse dressed immaculately in a suit is discovered on a beach with a trail of suspects stretching through the casinos and cruise ships across the continents. The nude paintings of a dead artist set in the stage for a murder in the gallery. Hunt for a terrorist leads to a dangerous game of luring a prey out of its lair using a human bait. Accidental friendship with a bunch of down and out Bollywood strugglers rejuvenates a jaded tycoon. A man finds himself as the sole passenger on an airplane flying from one deserted airport to another. An innocent shopkeeper learns the wisdom of the Mahabharata on the verge of losing his innocence. Marked by light and shadow, sounds and silence, these tales talk a bunch of unruly actors performing roles that take on lives of their own. I did not know that this was a collection of stories. I am really happy, really excited to read this book, not gonna lie. I am really hoping that this book not only has philosophical touch to the stories, but also good thriller and good comedy. Really excited. The next book that I have on my fall TBR is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I have heard so much about this book, especially Ruthless Vows. Yes, I'm very excited, and yes, I'm rather very happy that I will be hopefully picking this book up during winters. The next book I have is again a thriller, and the book's name is The Last Resort by Heidi Parks. Two people, two sides of the story. Whose do you trust? When Erin and Will start having couples therapy, they hope it will fix the rift that has appeared out of nowhere in their marriage. But their therapist Maggie can't work out whose version of the truth she can trust. Then Erin is brought into a hospital with a critical condition following a hit and run accident. Now everyone is desperate to unravel the truth, because if this isn't an accident, then someone close to Erin must be responsible. Again, a good domestic thriller. Definitely very interested to read this book.
The next book is by an Indian author, and it is basically a collection of horror stories. And the book that I'm talking about is Dark Tales by Vinita Coelho. Two terrorists hiding from the law find that they have very unusual, uninvented guests staying with them. A student of journalism sets out to interview an ordinary Indian and finds himself talking to death. A police officer investigating the killings of a string of children finds that their fate haunts him in more ways than one. In this collection of 11 very dark and twisted stories, Coelho lays bare the thread of horror that lies under the everyday. From the Nithari killings to the Nirbhaya case, contemporary India is a backdrop to these tales of horror. This is not a book you want to read in the dark. Is this book, by any chance, related to the real incidents that has happened in India? I am already intrigued. I am already very interested. Oh my god. The next book that is in my fall TBR that I'm also very excited about is A Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faisal. I have already read We Hunt the Flame by the author, and I have absolutely loved the book, and I am really excited to read this book because I have heard nothing but good things about this book. Aarti Casimir is the criminal mastermind and a collector of secrets. Her prestigious tea room transforms into an illegal blood house by night, catering to the vampires feared by the society. But when the tea room and its secrets come under threat, Aarti must lead a gang of outcasts in a high-stakes heist to the sinister vampire underworld. But even as unexpected romances blossom, Aarti realizes that not everyone in her ragtag crew is on her side, and she soon finds herself in the midst of a conspiracy that will threaten the world as she knows it. Dark, action-packed, and swoon-worthy, A Tempest of Tea is teeming with romance and revenge, led by an orphan girl willing to do whatever it takes to save her self-made kingdom. Sounds like a very beautiful read, and definitely this book is perfect for a cozy winter day. The next book is also a thriller, and the book I'm talking about is Elizabeth is Missing by Emma Haley. Maud is forgetful. She makes a cup of tea and doesn't remember to drink it. She goes to the shops and forgets why she went. Sometimes her home is unrecognizable, or her daughter Helen seems a total stranger. But there's one thing Maud is sure of: her friend Elizabeth is missing. The note in her pocket tells her so, and no matter who tells her to stop going on about it, to leave it alone, to shut up, Maud will get to the bottom of it. Because somewhere in Maud's damaged mind lies the answer to an unsolved 70-year-old mystery. One everyone has forgotten, everyone except Maud. Seems like a very good thriller, has a very strong plot that will make me like this book. Yes, I'm very excited to read this one. The next book is a thriller mixed with a few elements of romance, and the book's name is Love in the Times of Serial Killer by Alicia Thompson. PhD candidate Phoebe Walsh has always been obsessed with true crime. She has even analyzed the genre in her dissertation, if she can manage to finish writing it. It's hard to find the time while she spends the summer in Florida cleaning out her childhood home, dealing with her obnoxiously good-natured young brother, and grappling with the complicated feelings of mourning a father she hasn't had a relationship with for years. It doesn't help that she is low-key convinced that her new neighbor, Sam Dennings, is a serial killer. He may dress business casual by day, but at night he is clearly up to something. It's not long before Phoebe realizes that Sam might be something much scarier, a genuinely nice guy who can pierce her armor to reach her vulnerable heart. I am excited to see how the elements of being a serial killer and romance is mixed in this book. Yes, from the blurb we get to know that the guy is actually not a serial killer, but I'm also excited to see why Phoebe concludes that this guy is a serial killer, and definitely the development of romance is something I'm really looking forward to in this book. Rather very excited. I have only 4 books left in my fall TBR. Yes, this is a lot, definitely. And the last book is something I'm most excited about in this whole TBR, so stay tuned. But now the book I have added in my TBR is Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. I knew our family reunion wouldn't end well, but I didn't expect murder. Maybe I should have known better. After all, everyone in my family is a killer. My parents, my siblings, my in-laws, even me. We are not all psychopaths. Some of us are sure, but others are just unlucky. Accidents happen. So when a body is found in the snow, it's clear it's the work of a Cunningham. But which one and why? I'll give you one clue, it wasn't me. But a piece of advice, never trust a Cunningham. A family full of murderers, sign me up already. I got this book just now. I mean, a package got delivered and I got this book just now, and the book I'm talking about is Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. I have read a few works by Jay Kristoff and I absolutely love the way he writes books. I don't know anything about the writer's personal life and the controversies the writer has been involved in. Mia Corver is only 10 years old when she is given her first lesson in death. Destined to destroy empires, the child raised in shadows made a promise on the day she lost everything, to avenge herself on those that shattered her world. But the chance to strike against such powerful enemies will be fleeting, and Mia must become a weapon without equal. Before she seeks vengeance, she must seek training among the infamous assassins of the Red Church of Ithria. Inside the church's halls, Mia must prove herself against the deadliest of weapons and survive the tutelage of murderers, liars, and demons at the hearts of a murder cult. The church is no ordinary school, but Mia is no ordinary student. The church involved has a murder cult? Okay. Does this one have a map? Yes, this one has a beautiful map as well. Definitely excited to see where this fantasy world goes. Okay, this has another map as well. I am excited. I am excited to read this one. The second last book in my fall TBR is The Murder After the Night Before by Katie Brent. Something bad happened last night. I have woken up with a hangover from hell, a stranger in my bed, and I have gone viral for the worst reasons. But I can't remember a thing. My best friend Posey is dead. The police think it was a tragic accident. I know she was murdered. There's only one thing stopping me from dying of shame. I need to find a killer. A wickedly witty and utterly attractive novel from the author of How to Kill Men and Get Away with It, which actually is in my TBR for the month of September. I am really excited to read this one, definitely, and look at how vibrant the cover is. The story does seem really fun and dark and thrillery, if that's a word. Now, I want to finish my TBR with the work of an author without whose work my TBR will definitely be incomplete. And the author I'm talking about is Stephen King. Why this book is actually special to me is because this will be my first ever Stephen King novel, and I am scared plus very excited to see what his books are all about. And the book that I have included in my TBR is Misery by Stephen King. Who will tell by the cover of this book that this is a thriller or a horror-filled thriller novel? Look how beautiful and pretty the cover is. Paul Sheldon used to write for a living, now he is writing to stay alive. Misery Chastain is dead. Paul Sheldon has just killed her, with relief, with joy. Misery made him rich. She was the heroine of a string of bestsellers, and now he wants to get on to some real writing. That's when the car accident happens and he wakes up splintered and in pain in the remote mountains home to his rescuer Annie Wilds. Good news is that Annie was a nurse and has pain-killing drugs. The bad news is that she has long been Paul's #1 fan, and when she finds out what Paul has done to Misery, she doesn't like it. She doesn't like it at all. Does this book have the potential of becoming one of my favorite reads for my entire freaking life? Yes, it does. Really very excited, really very happy that I will be finally reading anything by Stephen King. And with that note, I am ending my fall TBR. That was a mouthful. These are all of the books that I am planning to read before winter ends. That is, I guess, the end of February or maximum till 15th of March with respect to India. Yes, there are a lot of books in this TBR, and keeping in mind that I read around 12 to 15 books every month, I still have a chance of finishing all of these books. Yes, I am being hopeful. Yes, I am dreaming a little bit of finishing all of these books, but I will definitely try. Do let me know in the comments down below if you are also willing to read any of the books that I mentioned in this video. If you liked watching my video, then definitely go like, share and subscribe my channel. It definitely means a lot. Also, winter is coming. I am very excited to get inside a blanket, have my cup of coffee ready and read all of the beautiful books that I have mentioned in this video. Thank you so much guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Till then, bye.